Hi guys, it's Daniel from the tool room. How are you all doing this evening? Hope you are all doing well. Well, tonight guys, we are going to be doing the full review and test of the Knipex 95/16/160 step cut cable cutters. So we're going to be looking at that tonight. Let's get straight into it. So guys, here it is then, the Knipex 95/16/160. So this is a little cutters. It is 160mm long. The 95 on Knipex states the model number. The 16 is the sort of handles it's got on it, and the 160 denotes the length. So this is the 1000-volt rated handles, which denotes the 16 there, and also you can get different sort of, finishes on these as well. So this is the step cut. Now, just to reiterate, guys, we're going to be testing this out tonight. We're going to be cutting through certain things. We're going to be seeing what it can do. And just to reiterate, this is the special thing about these step cuts. The blades here, you can see they've got these little nicks in them here, and these are designed to mimic a cable. Okay, so they're designed to mimic 2-core and earth, for example, so it will cut through the cables individually as it goes through. Okay, and this is meant to make it far easier to cut through the cable, and it sort of kind of mimics the shape of a cable, which is really useful and really new, really. So this could be a new design really for these cable cutters, couldn't it? This could be legendary. It has a shearing action, as you can see, so it's perfect for cutting round cables. If you try and cut round cables with a side cutters, it tends to sort of just, flatten them, doesn't it? And doesn't do a very good cut. So these are perfect for cutting things like this. My job, I work on fire alarms, I work on intruder alarms, CCTV, access control, things like that. So these are perfect for me for fire alarms. I also do emergency lights. So they're good for cutting through the cables on them, anything really that's twin core and earth, really. These are ideal for, really, whether it's 1.5, 2.5, wherever you want to throw it. But in reality, we know that as workmen, we really shouldn't, but we don't tend to go into our bags. If it means actually climbing down 3 steps of our step ladder, we're never going to do that. We're going to use this, whatever we've got in our hand, we're going to use it for the job in hand. So what I want to see from this is how practical is it for doing whatever we want to do. Now, it does say on here, I'm going to be really fair to Knipex here, it does say, do not cut steel, okay? So I'm going to be fair, and we're not going to even attempt to cut steel because that will wreck the blades, and they state that, to be fair to them. None of these shearing cutters are designed to cut steel, okay? It'll bend them every time. No matter how good the cutters are, no matter what they are, you cut steel with them, it's going to bend them. That's not what they're designed for. And fit and finish on this is excellent, really. He's been all cleaned up for his debut tonight, and I love the feeling of these handles. Okay, they're curved in your hands, which feels really nice, and it's a bit of a new design for Knipex. They haven't sort of done that so much before. And, it fits that curve, so you can kind of use them that way or that way. It sort of fits in the curve of your hand there, as you can see around the curvature of your hand, around the thumb there. And it also fits around the curvature of your fingers, sort of curving into it. Whichever way you want to do it, you can, or you can just use it with a couple of fingers there. Just clip, clip, clip. You can adjust how tight you want it to feel with that little screw there. You can just loosen it and tighten it a touch. It only takes a very minor adjustment. So if they do find they get a bit tight, although Knipex don't tend to get tight, if I'm honest, if you do find it gets a little bit tight, you can just nip it out a little bit. And if you find it's a little bit loose for your liking, you can nip it up a little bit. So fully adjustable, all good. It's got the typical Knipex, very comfortable handles on it. It's got the guards there to stop you diving into any nasty electrical stuff and hurting yourself, so that's all good. And what I love about Knipex is they've always got nicely embossed and stamped in the Knipex name. A lot of them are laser etched, and it just doesn't look as good, does it? It's so much better to have it stamped in, and this is a typical Knipex tool in that. So, and you can see there, it's rated up to 50mm squared there, and 15mm, as you can see. So from 50mm squared. So it's got quite a wide range. Just a little thing on the handles, it gives you all your readings and all your certifications on there, where it's made in Germany, like all Knipex tools. And a little handy thing on here, you have the year of manufacture. Now they put these on the VDE handles because obviously, if you got a VDE handle, you're relying on this thing to take 1,000 volts. You're relying on it to save your life if you wanted to. You don't want to be using a 20-year-old cutters, do you? So it's good to have the date on it. And then inside again, it's got the IEC 6900 certifications here. Again, reminds you it's 1,000 volts, and again where it's made and the certifications written in there, VDE. So it's all to the European standards. And yeah, and these are tested to 10,000 volts, and they put under all sorts of stresses and strains as well. They're cold tested, they're heat tested, all sorts of conditions these are tested in. So, you know, this is the difference when you buy a Knipex. You know, it's not just you know, put through the minimum that you need to do with cutters. It's you know, it's put through its paces. They want to be able to stand by their tools. They want you to know that this is a tool you can stand by. So there we go. That is a brief overview really of the attributes of these cutters. Right, so we're going to be testing it tonight. Now, as I said, as an engineer, you tend to just use whatever's in your pocket. You know, it's the worst thing in the world and the biggest burden the world has ever seen to have to walk down 3 steps of your ladder and walk to your tool bag, let alone have to walk back to your van for something. You just don't tend to do it. So we know that in real life, you're going to use it for whatever's in your way. Now, so we're going to be doing good old cable tie. I will chop through a cable tie. I'm pretty sure it's not going to have much trouble with that, but we'll have a look at it anyway. Okay. And now I'm going to have a little chop of it through rope as well. Why the heck are you chopping through rope, Dan? No one uses rope. You know, we're not bridge engineers in the Amazon jungle, so why are we going to be using rope? Well, rope is stringy, it's thready, and, you know, it's a good mark of how sharp a cutters is if it can just chop straight through a rope without cutting through it twice. Okay, so it's good to test rope. A lot of people test rope. I've seen a lot of reviews doing it because it's weirdly, even though it's soft, it's quite difficult to cut straight through without any problems. So we'll see how they fare with a bit of rope. Then we're going to move on to what is supposed to be cutting. Okay, so this is my daily, what I'll be cutting, fire cable. So I'm sure it won't have any problem chomping through there. And what we're really interested in though is how it feels to cut. Okay. So, you know, I'm pretty confident this is going to chomp through this no problem, but how does it feel to do it? Is there like a nasty snap on your hand? Do you feel it through your hand? Or does this new design really make a big difference? Is it a game changer? Okay, I'm going to go through a slightly thicker cable here. Now, I'm not an electrician, but we can see this has got a far thicker sheathing. And unlike the fire cable, the sheathing actually goes in amongst the cables as well. So if you look at the end of the fire cable, the cables are sort of they're sitting loose inside the sheathing there, whereas here there's this sort of wrap around, so that should be a little bit more difficult to cut through. But again, it's twin core and earth, so it should be ideal what these are designed to cut through. Okay, then we're going to be silly with it in typical Dan's toolroom style, and we're going to start cutting through stuff it's really not designed to cut through, just to see if it'll do it. So we've got this big Bertha sort of double sheaved battery cable here, and we're going to see if it cuts through that all right, and then we're just going to be silly and cut through an even thicker double sheaved battery cable. Totally not what it's designed to do, but like I say, you know, we just use what we got on our hands half the time, so it'd be interesting to see if it'll do it and how easily it'll do it. So here we go then, guys, let's get into it. So we're up working on something, and there's just some cable ties holding a bunch of cables together, which we need to pull through a panel. So I'm not going to go back to my ladder. I'm just going to use this. So, you know, as you'd expect, yeah, no problem at all. But let's be honest here. We did not expect our nice fancy cutter to fail to cut the cable tie. Okay, so yeah, perfectly easy for that. Let us move on. How does it fare against a bit of rope? How sharp are these blades? Let's have a little look, shall we? So let's put it on, push through, straight off, and look at that. I like the way it holds it as well. That's pretty cool. I like that. So, you know, it just doesn't go flying off and fall on the floor. It holds it nicely. So let's just give it another try, just to be fair to it. Yeah, not a problem at all. Cut straight through it. Now, a lot of them will not cut through the rope straight away, and they'll just leave perfect. Easy peasy, no strain at all. And they'll just leave lots of threads everywhere, and you'll have to sort of, if I can sort of try and do this now and sort of fake this, no, I can't even fake it. It just cuts straight through it. A lot of the time it'll leave some threads and you'll have to cut through it twice and just sort of pull on it a little bit to get rope apart. So that, as daft as it sounds, is actually quite a good show of how sharp these cutters are, that it'll cut straight through nasty thready rope like that. Fire cable. Okay, so can we use it to do a bit of scoring on the fire cable here? Yeah, and we just... yeah, not a problem. So we can strip the cable with that. Not a problem. And then can we do the same with this? Just strip it off. I'm trying not to press too hard so I don't cut through the sheathing. It's not really designed for this, but yeah, look at that. Perfect. It only struggled the first time to cut it through because I was deliberately not pressing too hard because I didn't want to accidentally just chop straight through it. So let's just show you that again. So we can just whiz around there and pull that off. And we've got a perfect cut there, so that's pretty good. Right, so let's chop them away. Not a problem. Now this is going to be the interesting bit, okay, because I want to see how this feels. Remember, this is supposed to be designed to mimic cutting through those cores, okay? So let's just take this and let's just cut through it. Now it does actually feel different, okay? It does actually feel like sometimes when you're cutting through, you can get a bit of a snap back in your hand, and you can feel when you sort of feel it pushing through gently, and then when it comes to actually cutting it, you can feel a snap in it. Now if I show you what that's done there, I've just cut through that gently, and you can see, let's focus, you can see it's just gently cut round all the cores and started to score through the cores as it's got through the middle individually, okay? So I haven't had to spin it around at all, so I've just took it to the first stage, and you can see that the cable, I could just strip that cable off, no problem, and it started to go through the cores individually. I know this sounds daft, but and a bit odd to understand, but it sort of does it in two stages. So you do that, and then you feel it just chop through the cores. And it's hard to explain unless you use it yourself, but you do feel a difference. And that sort of two-stage cutting, you can feel that when you do it quickly. So you feel it goes through the earth and then the cores, bang. You can feel when you push through here that the sort of cable sort of drops. You can feel that first part there. You can feel it's cut through the sheathing, and then it just goes straight through the cores. And it does actually feel like it takes some strain out of your hand. You know, you can feel exactly what the cable's doing. You can feel a bit more control over how you cut the cable, not just chopping it, and all bits of cable flying everywhere. So it is actually pretty good for that, and I can see a difference. I'm not going to lie. If I'm honest, I didn't think I was going to see any difference. I thought it might be a little bit of a gimmick, but no, it is actually a well-designed and purposeful tool. It certainly feels like you've got A, more control over the cable you're cutting and how you cut the cable, and B, it does take some strain off you. It takes that snap out of the cut because you can feel the two stages, and you can sort of prepare yourself and sort of, you know, feel the pressure going through it. Now what you can also do on this, which is really quite cool, is rather than sort of scoring it around, you can just cut there and you can feel where it clips in. Okay, I can feel it's gone through the cores there, and I can strip the cable. How cool is that? So none of this sort of spinning it round and, you know, snapping it off, you know, they like you do with a traditional cable shears. No, because you can feel it, and because you can feel where the cable sort of naturally fit into there, you can just squeeze it. Felt that there, felt that, perfect there, and strip it off. Not a problem, look at that. And you can feel that, you can see that it's sort of, just sort of marked the cables, but it's not actually gone through it, but you can feel where it sort of starts to cut through. So, you know, you're probably better off scoring it, but, you know, at a push, it's quite a good thing, isn't it, that you can, you know, just strip off. I just wonder, can you sort of feel that a bit without, just that gentle feel there? And yeah, if you do it, once you get used to it, you can snap it out like that without scoring around it, and you can see, if you do it that way, there's actually not a mark on that cable. So that's cool. I like that. I hope that makes sense what I've just shown you there, but you really can feel a difference. So moving on then, what about this cable? So this cable is a little bit different. The sheathing's going all around it, so these are going to be more difficult to strip, clearly. So whether it'll strip it like that, I don't think it'll strip it like the fire cable, because that'll be a bit difficult. But, you know, let's just see if we can feel that two-stage sort of bite through it. So there's the first part, and I can feel there now, I can actually feel that it's got as far as the cables now, and it's clamping down on the cables. So you can see that, as you can see, it's just started to clamp onto the cables, okay? So it's broken the sheathing, but it hasn't gone through. And now I can feel through it goes, okay? So again, you can feel that it's just clamped there, it's clamped onto the cables there, I can feel that. There you go. And I think that if you were careful with this, you could just strip this back, really, by just doing that. Look at that. Now, it'll take a little bit to get used to, but I think once you're used to these cutters, you could actually just feel where it gets to the cable. Perhaps I've gone through it, I've been a little bit the other way here. But you could, technically, I mean, it's gone through that way, so just clamp down there again, break it off, and that is actually perfect. See, there's no damage to the cable there, so there was no scoring around it. It was just feeling the pressure, and you can actually feel the parts of the cable and the pressure of it. So again, just stripping it off. No issues to stripping it off. You can use it for that. You guys, if you want to just pull it off a little bit like that, then twist it around, pull it off, twist your cable up nicely, chop the end. Showing a bit of focus this evening, do apologise. And there you go, you've got your twisted up cable. So, how can I put this then? So, what I'm enjoying feeling on these is this sort of feeling of you can feel through those teeth. Because it goes to the shape of the cable, it doesn't just shear straight through it in a straight line or curved line like a normal shears do. You can sort of feel, once you get used to it, where you're hitting the cables. And that's the beauty of it. So anyway, hopefully I've made that point. I've ranted on about that a little bit. I do apologise. But I just really wanted to kind of, it's hard when you're not doing it, but I just wanted to kind of get through to you that how you can feel the benefit of those blades. It's just a lot easier to use and a lot easier to have that feedback of what you're doing with your cable. Now, this isn't what it's designed to cut at all. This is too big for this cutter, as you'd use a bigger shears for this. But let's just see if it'll go through it, shall we? Now, to be fair to it, it's too big, okay? And for me, if I can't get through with one hand, then I can't get through it, okay? So let's just have a look. One hand in operation here. Ready, and chomp. So it's chopped straight through it. Now, don't judge if we're not going all the way through, because to be fair to the poor little thing, its blades don't fit around it. But yeah, it's chopped straight through it without an issue. So let's try it again. And you can see the blades don't quite go all the way around it, but let's just see if it'll chop through. Yep, not a problem. So it'll certainly chop through something that isn't designed to chop. And you know, if you've got that thickness of cable and you can put up with just that little two-stage chop there, I'm sure you'll be fine. Okay, now let's do something a bit silly. There's no way it's going to go through this all in one, obviously, but let's see if we can chomp through it, okay? Let's go to a place where it's not been chomped up till now. I mean, the poor little blades don't even get around this, to be fair. It's going to struggle. It's not going to go right through it. Now, to be fair, I am abusing it here, but I wonder, can we get through it though? Let's just have a look. I've got to use one hand. I'm not allowed to, using two hands is cheating, right? So that's gone through there. See, it's getting there. It's struggling. Okay, let's do it with, yeah, I think it's going to struggle with that one. So, what can we say then? This little cutters, unless you're being an absolute idiot with it like I am here, because these are some serious cables I'm cutting through here, then it's pretty damn good. It's got no trouble going through anything else, and I think eventually I am actually going to chomp through this. I wouldn't recommend using this though, because it's yeah, it's really not designed for it. But yeah, so okay guys, you know, I started off with this. I didn't know whether it was going to go through it or not, but let's not judge it for that. I mean, look at that cable. That is a monster of a thing. Okay, but as you can see, guys, but if we're talking about what it's actually meant to be cutting, what it's actually designed for, we've got this cable, this sort of cable here, and we've got a bit of fire cable. It is absolutely perfect, especially for my fire cable, where it's got a loose sheave on it. So, you know, just the fact that I can feel exactly when I hit my cable, I can strip it straight off, and the cable is unmarked. That's brilliant. So, you know, I can use this for stripping fire cable all day long, and I'm not going to have any issues with that whatsoever. Perfect. So, for what it's meant to do, guys, you know, like I say, I was just being a bit of an idiot with that massive one, but it will go through the smaller big cable. But, you know, for what it's meant to do, it's absolutely great. I would go as far to say is if you could feel what I'm feeling here, it's a bit of a game changer. It really is, because you can really feel the cable through it, and that's exactly what it claims it's going to do, isn't it? That because you've got those cores built into it there, the shape of the core, it will work with you, and you know, you can I think you could do some pretty impressive things with this if you gave it you know, a bit of practice. And that's to be said of any cable cutters. You know, whenever you get a new cable cutter that you haven't used much, okay, it's going to take a bit of practice till you get it right. You get your old faithfuls you use for years and years and years. You can have your eyes shut and you can do it. And you can be doing anything you like with the cables all day long, no matter what it is. So this is, I've not felt that sort of thing with a cable before. I've not felt that I can feel exactly when I'm hitting the cables, because when it hits these sort of notches here, and it sort of naturally just makes the cable fall into that when it compresses the cable, when it hits these notches here, you can feel it touching on those notches. You can feel it through the handles, you know when to stop, and you can strip with that, and it's brilliant. And for what I'll be using it for, this is fantastic, and you know, I will be using this a heck of a lot. So guys, what can I say? The Knipex 95 116 160 step cuts. It is, you know, it feels like cutting in 2 steps. That's all I can say. And it's useful. It works. It's a good thing. It takes the pressure out of your hands. It just feels great to do it. It's different from any of the cable shears I've used. And like I say, guys, you have to just try to see. Most cable cutters, just one action, chomp, straight through it. But if you want a bit of control on your cable, if you want to be doing a bit of precision work, this, yeah, you can just chomp through the cables really fast if you want to. But you've got that option as well of just being able to feel exactly what it's doing. And until I started using this, I didn't really understand quite what this is sort of, you know, what the sort of remit of this cutter is really. But it is that I feel it's control over the cable and control over what you're doing, and because of that, it's, you know, it's extra things you can do that you perhaps can't do with your standard sort of brutal, just chop straight through everything cable shears. So yeah, guys, I got to give these the Dan's Tool Room fantastic. Now, I picked this up off someone else. Now, I'm just going to, with all my reviews from now on, I'm going to say, you know, should you avoid this? You know, should you sort of consider it amongst others, or should you buy it? And this, guys, I'm going to say just buy it, because it's brilliant. I'll put a link to the Knipex website again, so you can have a look at this and everything it does. And yeah, really impressed. And it's only got 160mm handles on it. So, you know, it will go above and beyond what it's meant to do. It will chop that if you need it. You know, this is just silly cable, and to be fair, my massive cable cutters struggle to go through that, so I didn't really expect this to get through it. But you know, it had a good go. It had a good go, to be fair. And you know, the testament that it just chopped straight through rope with no problem at all, not leaving any bits and dangly bits of sheery bits of rope on it, you know, is a testament to how sharp this thing is. So guys, brilliant, absolutely brilliant tool. And I would recommend you buy this. You know, they're well priced. Just go out and get them, guys. This has been my review of the Knipex 95 116 160 step cut cable shears, and a massive shout out to David from Knipex for sending me this. It's going to be used and loved and treasured. Any questions about it, guys? If you've You know, if you're not understanding anything, or if you've used this, if you've got any theories on this, what you think it's like, you know, I'd love to hear it. Thank you so much for all your subscribers. We passed the 800 mark, guys. Much rejoicing. Next stage is the 1,000 mark. It's got to be, and that'll be amazing. When I started out doing this, I didn't, you know, I know it's small fry, okay, but you know, if you put 800 people in the room who are all interested in what you got to say, you know, that's pretty cool. You know, that's flattering. You know, so I'm really pleased about that. It's not 20,000 subscribers or 100,000 subscribers as some people get, but you know, for me, 800 subscribers, guys, is amazing. So thank you very much for subscribing. So hit the bell icon, guys, so you don't miss any videos, and I will catch you on the next video, guys. Have a great evening, and I hope you've enjoyed this. See you again. Bye bye.